Why fallow deer keep spots as adults. Fallow deer are truly remarkable animals, aren't they? Their elegance as they move through forests and grasslands is instantly captivating, and their ability to thrive in such a variety of habitats speaks to their incredible adaptability. But what really sets them apart, what makes them so uniquely fascinating, is the persistence of those spots. Most deer lose their spotted coats within their first year or two, but fallow deer often retain these markings well into adulthood. It's an unusual characteristic, a visual reminder of their early life that many other species simply shed. These spots aren't just for camouflage as youngsters, either they continue to play a role in communication and social signaling amongst adults. Though the exact reasons are still being researched by scientists. Most deer fawns are born with adorable spotted coats, a perfect camouflage to help them blend in and stay safe while they're learning the ropes. As they grow, these spots typically fade away, relying instead on their mother's protective presence for concealment. But there's an exception to this rule. Fallow deer can sometimes hold onto those striking markings throughout their entire lives. It creates a really beautiful visual contrast against their reddish-brown fur, a pattern that's quite unique within the deer family. You'll notice some individuals are almost completely patterned with spots, while others have just a few lingering on their flanks and legs. It's truly fascinating to observe this variation. The fading spots aren't just a curious quirk, they're actually governed by genetics. Think of it like inherited eye color. Some individuals have genes that lead to brown eyes, while others have genes for blue. With fallow deer, there are variations in their genetic makeup, which determine how long those distinctive spots remain visible as they mature. It's fascinating because a recessive gene is responsible for keeping the spots. This means both parents need to carry that particular gene, even if they themselves don't display any spots. Only when an offspring inherits two copies of this recessive gene will you see those characteristic spots persisting into adulthood. These distinctive spots aren't just for show, they play a vital role in the fallow deer's survival. Think about the environments. These animals inhabit forests with sunlight filtering through the canopy, meadows dotted with wildflowers, and areas with varied ground cover like leaf litter or tall grasses. The dappled pattern of their coat allows them to virtually disappear into this complex landscape. The spots break up the outline of the deer, making it incredibly difficult for predators to spot them from a distance. It's a remarkable example of natural camouflage, perfectly adapted to their habitat and providing a significant advantage when evading danger. Those striking spots on a fallow deer fawn aren't always an advantage. In fact, young spotted fawns often face a higher risk of being targeted by predators. Wolves, bears, and cougars are all opportunistic hunters, and those bold markings make the fawns much more visible in the dappled light of the forest floor. While spots provide excellent camouflage for adults blending into diverse habitats, this conspicuous pattern actually works against them when they're vulnerable young deer. It's a fascinating example of how what seems like an adaptation can have different effects at different stages of life. The persistence of those spots into adulthood isn't just a random quirk. Scientists believe it's likely due to a combination of subtle advantages. Think about how environments change throughout a deer's life, the dappled shade of a young forest versus the more open woodland they might inhabit later on. Those remaining spots could offer a tiny bit of camouflage in those specific settings, breaking up their outline and making them slightly harder for predators or even other deer to spot. Beyond that, there's a fascinating possibility they play a role in communication within deer populations themselves. It's theorized the spots might act as visual signals, perhaps indicating an individual's overall health, or even their social standing, essentially showing others where they rank within the group. It's fascinating to consider how these spots might have come about. Scientists are developing a compelling theory that human activity played an unexpected role in their persistence. You see, early European hunters were likely quite effective they needed to be, and it's thought that they may have preferentially targeted the plain. Coated deer for easier identification and hunting success. This constant pressure could have inadvertently created a selective advantage for those few individuals carrying the genetic mutation for spot development. Over generations, this subtle preference would have gradually increased the frequency of the spotting gene within the population, ultimately leading to the spotted patterns we observe today. It's a powerful example of how human actions, even when not directly intended, can influence the course of evolution. Take a closer look at those spots. They're not all identical. You'll notice some fallow deer have strikingly large, well-defined markings, like little islands of color against their lighter fur. Others display much smaller, more scattered dots. It almost looks like someone flicked paint across their backs. This isn't random, though. These subtle differences are actually the result of fascinating genetic variations within what we call the spot retention gene. Just as with human traits, there's a range of possibilities encoded in their DNA, leading to this beautiful diversity in spot patterns. It's a reminder that even within a species, individuals can possess unique and captivating characteristics. The striking spotted pattern we admire on fallow deer isn't consistent across their entire range. You'll notice a significant difference in how many have these spots, depending on where you look. In some areas, almost every individual displays the characteristic white markings, while others show very few or none at all. This variation is largely due to human influence. Historically, fallow deer were often introduced to new regions by people, sometimes for hunting estates, and other times simply as ornamental animals in parks. When breeders selectively chose deer with more prominent spots for breeding programs, particularly aimed at producing impressive trophy animals, the spotted pattern became increasingly common within those specific populations. So, a higher prevalence of spotted fallow deer is a clear sign that humans have played a role in shaping their genetics and distribution. It's truly remarkable how these spots persist on adult fallow deer, even as their coats transition to a more uniform color. You see, when a fawn is born, it's covered in those distinctive white spots, providing crucial camouflage amongst dappled sunlight and undergrowth. As they mature, many other animals lose such markings. However, the genes responsible for these spots don't simply disappear. Instead, they remain present, subtly influencing coat color throughout their lives. The intensity of the spotting can vary considerably depending on individual genetics and environmental factors. A deer raised in dense woodland might display more prominent spots than one grazing in an open field. This constant interplay between inherited traits and surroundings creates a fascinating visual record, essentially a living map of genetic history and adaptation. Ultimately, those enduring spots are a powerful reminder that evolution isn't always about complete disappearance. Sometimes it's about subtle persistence and the beautiful complexity of nature's designs.